Hello, in this video we are going to go over the embryonic germ layers. So we're basically going to be talking about what happens when an embryo develops. And we're going to primarily be focusing on animal development here. So we talked about in a different video how organisms can reproduce, and when organisms reproduce using sexual reproduction, there's going to be an egg being fertilized by sperm. And so after fertilization, now the embryo can develop. And so what we're going to be talking about is what happens. And so after the egg is fertilized, it's going to go through cell division and it's going to make multiple cells. So you end up with one cell, then you have two, then you have four, eight, etc. And it's going to keep going until you get this kind of ball of cells called a blastula. And the blastula is going to have a layer of cells around it. Okay, so this is like a cross section. If you were to slice it open, it looks like this, but it is a ball where the cells are on the outside layer. We call that the blastoderm. And then the inside is called the blastocele. All right, and then this is going to continue to develop. So as you can see, here is our blastula, and it's going to continue to develop, but now it's going to have a little bit of shape. As you can see, one side is going to cave in, and then eventually we're going to get this structure here, which is called the gastrula. And with the gastrula, because this bottom part has caved in, now we have three distinct layers in this structure, and those are what we call the germ layers. And so we have an inner layer called the endoderm. That was the part that kind of caved in. And then we have the outer layer, which is called the ectoderm, and then the mesoderm is in between. So that is that structure. Now let's talk about these germ layers. So this figure is specifically human development, but this is pretty much the same for most animals. But anyway, so again, the germ layers, we got the endoderm, the mesoderm, and the ectoderm, which are shown here. This is a much more developed embryo, by the way, but same thing. These are kind of the different layers. And so the endoderm will eventually become the organs that have to do with the digestive system. Anyway, your inner organs. Then we have the mesoderm. The mesoderm, again, is the middle layer, and it's going to become things like your lungs, your circulatory system. So that's your heart, muscle, skeletal system, all of that. And then finally, the ectoderm is the outermost layer. And again, we're kind of looking at it from here. So this is the inner layer, the middle layer, and then the outer layer. So the ectoderm is going to end up being your hair, nails, skin, your nervous system as well. So that those are the different layers, and that's what they end up being at the end. And again, this is specific for human development, but other animals, especially, more developed animals, they're also going to have these three layers that sort of become the different organs as well. Again, not every organism has a true digestive system. Not every organism has a full skeletal system, but for the most part, it's pretty similar in terms of what the germ layers end up being. All right, that is it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.